Hello there. So we're talking about the book of Nehemiah tonight. The land of Israel has been desolated. It's completely barren wilderness. When Nehemiah hears about the crisis of his people in Jerusalem, Jerusalem's laid waste. Still, the people are going back because they've been promised they could go back, but it's still in desperation. They need something. They need major repair work. And then this is about 1,000 years after Moses, all right? 400 years before the birth of Jesus. You got Nehemiah, and he's the cupbearer before the king, and he's so distraught. The king's like, hey, what's wrong with you? Clearly you're not sick. This must be a heart issue. I love how it words that, like, really the king seemed to be pretty on it, but he also had a good relationship with Nehemiah, his cupbearer. It was like, of course, he's the guy that brings him his wine, tastes it beforehand. Anyhow, but Nehemiah prays to God, very humbly. He gives the king, he stands before the king in chapter 2, and he says, I need to go back and look and see what's going on in Jerusalem. I need to go back and see what's going on with my people. And he says, and the king's like, well, appoint a time and you'll be good. And Nehemiah doesn't go, well, the Lord will show me. He gives the king a time. He says, this is how much time I need, and and so forth. Because he knows that God will honor that and take care of it. And the king, blesses him to go, and he does that. Chapter 3, we see all the rebuilding of the walls, builders of the sheep gate, the fish gate, the old gate, the valley gate, the refuge gate, the fountain gate, the water gate, the horse gate. There's no camel gate. No, none of that. It's kind of a legend anyway. But there's something about Jesus talking about the eye of a needle. And there's the whole idea that there was a gate that a camel had to, go under. That's, anyway. That's not something we need to worry about right now. Chapter 3, the chapter, obviously, for believers to work together. Believers working together to accomplish something. It's really important there. There's a lot of that. It's also how important the family units are. Everybody's the son of somebody else. It's very, family is very important with Israel, with the Jews, and with God's people in general. Christians anywhere, any believers in Christ, as we get together, we are one in the Spirit and one in the Lord because we are unified through Him, through that common theme that we believe in the resurrected Christ, the resurrection of Jesus. And if you want to learn more about the story of Christianity, by the way, this is a great book. There's actually 2 books about Christianity. I read these when I was in Bible school for my History of Christianity class. Amazing course. Just talking about how Christianity has grown and how it's endured through time in the last 2,000 years. It's interesting, too. I was talking about colleges the other day and how they got started in America. It was actually as theology courses. The colleges and universities in our country were started as places to learn about God. So it's pretty interesting. So Nehemiah chapter 4, there's this whole thing about the work being stopped because the enemies, Sanballat and Tobiah, ridicule the work of God, and they work and violently start attacking the Jews. No surprise there. Nothing new there. Challenges from the inside and the outside, God allowing the Jews to be warned about the attack, Nehemiah organizing defenses, literally taking a sword in one hand and a shovel in the other, rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem while having a sword to defend yourselves. That was basically what they were saying. It's like, give us the authority to defend ourselves against the enemy, because the enemy was there, alive and well, trying to combat what the Jews were trying to do, what they were trying to rebuild their walls and their people. So it's very important lessons there. With teamwork among the believers in Christ. Teamwork as we work together. Not sitting there being like the world and ridiculing each other, pinpointing each other's faults and all that kind of thing. We need to be working together. The more unified we are, the more people will see that unity and that love and want to have something to do with it. Want to be a part of that. Anyway, chapter 5, again, the work being threatened as well. Nehemiah's immediate reaction, of course, is frustration, anger. There's all this strife about money problems, confronting things that are wrong. The nobles, all these people outside are going, why are you letting them rebuild Jerusalem? It's such a wicked city. Well, yeah, they looked at the history books. They looked at the ancient kings that used to live there and all the idolatry and all that, and their rebellion against the other. Of course, there was rebellion because they were trying to be taken over. Jerusalem is, of course, going to be rebellious against people coming at them and trying to kill them. It makes sense for them to try to defend themselves against that. And we'll get into chapter 6 in the next video. But anyway, that's just the first 5 chapters of Nehemiah. An amazing book to study, an amazing book to read. I highly recommend it. God bless. Keep up with the word of truth, my friends.